And we have new information about that 4-alarm fire at First Star Recycling this week. Omaha fire investigators tell 6 News the cause of the fire was a machinery malfunction coupled with combustible material in and around that machine. Fire officials at the time told us paper products added fuel to the fire. It started around 10:30 Wednesday night. At one point, firefighters at the scene called a mayday after a captain got separated from a hose line. They found him about 5 minutes later and he was okay. Damage estimates are at $200,000 to the building. Estimates for the contents are not yet known.
Today